Hello everyone who is watching our YouTube live stream or the recording of this week's growth call. I'm Christoph Atteneder and I'm your host today. As always, I've posted already the invitation link for the Google Hangout in the chat, so you can join us here in the Hangout, or you can just watch the live stream on YouTube. And please post, as always, any questions or just say hello in the chat. Yeah, thanks to Chris Sacher, who will write the meeting minutes after the call, and we'll post it in the description below. In general, today, it's a very special growth meeting, as we will talk about an ongoing experiment. We will talk about the US dollar liquidity week that started on Monday with our big live stream event, where Chris will share his learnings. And actually, I'm also very excited about talking with you guys and showing you the changes we saw already by this marketing activity we did. So for everyone who is joining us for the first time and maybe even don't know what Bisq is the only real decentralized fiat cryptocurrency exchange out there. So you can exchange US dollars, fiat currencies like US dollars, with Bitcoin, or you can also exchange cryptocurrencies with other cryptocurrencies as well. So our growth calls are about exchanging learnings on how to grow the Bisq network itself. We decided end of last year to focus for the next couple of months on growing especially the liquidity on Bisq. That means that we want to increase the available buy and sell offers on the platform on certain markets. As today's call is about the ongoing US dollar liquidity week, as I said already, I want to quickly explain what we mean with liquidity week itself. So it's 1 week where everyone who is participating tries to have one buy and one sell offer available all the time. So to kickstart, push the market that we are focusing on. Everyone who participates not only supports Bisq and just in general decentralized exchanges, but will also receive 20 Bisq tokens on top. The Bisq token itself has different utilities within the Bisq DAO. So the Bisq DAO will be released within the next couple of months, and you can vote with the Bisq token. You can transfer it, so you can buy, sell it, and you can pay trading fees with it. If you do want to know more about the Bisq DAO, please read our white paper. I will link it, as always, in the description below. But there's also a great interview with Chris on Steele's show with the name The Tower of the DAO. So part 1 is already available, and part 2, I think, will be available soon, and will focus more on the Bisq DAO itself. As always, I post the links after the call. So today, we want to talk about the US dollar liquidity week. I mentioned it already a couple of times. So to show you the first results, I will share my screen. Just a sec. So let's see how this works. Let me just quickly switch. Okay, can you see the screen? I will present now to everyone. Screen is fine?
I can see it, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So here you can see the volume, the US dollar volume, and the number of trades just on the Bitcoin US dollar market. And it starts already on 1st of December last year. And on the right, this big blue spike is when we started the liquidity week for Bitcoin US dollars. So I just took the first 3 days, so Monday till Wednesday, and compared them with 3 days before. And we saw already a plus of 150% in the volume, in a general US dollar volume. And regarding the number of trades, we saw a plus of 100%. So in numbers, this means we had 20,000 US dollars exchanged, and we had more than 40 trades, which is quite a lot, especially if we compare it with the Bitcoin Euro market. From the volume, the Bitcoin Euro market is still bigger, but the total trades were just 26 in total. So the trades that were made on the Bitcoin US dollar market are now way more spreaded between different payment methods which we introduced than it was before. Release 0.66, 0.667, it was about 95, 99% sell payments. And since our last release, sell is just accounting for 46%, and all the other trades are made with our new payment methods. Especially the Cash App is used quite a lot, so that works really well. Let me just quickly check. I think we had a couple of other payment methods. Yeah, we also introduced Uphold and Pop Money and national bank transfer, but we didn't see any trades with this payment method.
We did have one Uphold today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, today I didn't check. So, but that's good. Yeah, cool. Yeah, and if we now compare, that's the interesting part. On Bitcoin Euro, there's just one payment method, SEPA. We do have different payment methods there. We also introduced now number 26 MoneyBeam, or there's SEPA Instant, and I'm not sure if we do have any other popular payment method.
OKPay is at least theoretically works. Revolut should work, but I think we've only had one OKPay in the Euro market ever. I think so. It really is almost totally dominated by SEPA.
Yeah. In Sweden, we have Swish, so that's very popular there. OKPay was more popular in the early days, but they have been sold to another company and now it comes like not very usable anymore. Changed a lot of the policies. And national bank transfer, I think there are from time to time some, but yeah, SEPA is for sure.
Yeah, the point, Chris, you mentioned that in the chat today regarding the spread of the payment methods. So for the US dollar liquidity week, we didn't kind of focused on a special payment method, which just said, whatever payment method you want to use, please put the offer out there. And yeah, of course, if last year we did this liquidity week on Bitcoin Euro and everyone was trading on SEPA, so it was maybe easier to gain momentum, but I'm not sure if it's very necessary to focus on one payment method or if it can just spread it. The good thing, which I think doing it that way, that we see which payment methods people prefer to use. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll just recap just what I've been learning as we go along here. I'm very glad that we've done it the way that we have, which is just, hey, everybody, it's USD Liquidity Week. Put in offers to trade, either buy and or sell, any payment method you like, any amount you like. I think that's a great way to discover organically who wants to use what. So I'm glad that we haven't prematurely optimized anything. And indeed, the results have been pleasantly surprising. I think everybody agrees. There's just been plenty of activity. The observation for me is that if we're going to see a result, a sustainable result, like we saw in the Euro market after our liquidity push there in December, it makes sense to me that we're probably going to need to sustain overall a larger number of USD offers just to cover all of those trading payment methods, since there isn't one dominant, ubiquitous one like SEPA. So I don't think we need to do anything differently, and I don't think I would have done anything differently this week. It's just kind of emerging for me that if we're going to see the same kind of steady state or organic growth really starting to take off, it's probably going to mean that at any given time we would see in the order book more USD offers than Euro, just to deal with the difference in payment methods. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I'm also not sure. Maybe we'll have a kind of similar behavior like in the Bitcoin Euro market, that in the end it will focus on one payment method which is most popular. But now the US dollar market is so big compared to the Euro market. So maybe is enough volume. Okay, there's for sure enough volume to be spread about different payment methods. But yeah.
What surprised me is that there is no national bank transfers.
Yeah.
I mean, one reason might be that it was not, there was a bug in the 066 version where you could not actually choose the national bank transfer for US. That was still blocked, but that's fixed in 067. And also it was one user complaint, so it was probably the first and only user who tried to use national bank transfers. Chris, do you have any explanation from your background? Maybe it's the fees, maybe it's so slow. What's your thought on this?
Yeah, I could be really mistaken here. I just know my own experience with my own banks in the US, and it's really sort of the opposite of the SEPA experience, right? You know, if you're using Erste Bank here in Austria, say, or whatever, really just any bank in Europe has deeply integrated SEPA payments, and everybody understands how to use it. You just type in the IBAN, you type in the BIC, whatever, and off it goes, right? And in the States, I don't think I've ever had experience doing an ACH transfer or a wire transfer. And indeed, I'm often confused about which one is even which, because I'm just having like a person-to-person conversation, especially with the smaller bank that I use. You know, I have to manually request, I have to fax things to them, I have to pay $40 or $25 depending on the nature of the wire. So it's a totally different profile with convenience, or rather inconvenience. I'd love to hear from other people in the US if there are like banks that integrate ACH and wire in just far more convenient ways. It could just be my own ignorance, but I'm sort of not surprised that we don't see a big uptick for that reason. Indeed, they do come with their own non-trivial fees, in my experience.
It seems the banks really hate their customers.
Oh, maybe one question.
That's why we all hate the banks.
Yeah. By the way, welcome Jonathan to the call. You are based in the US, am I right?
Yeah, I'm happy to share about national bank transfers from my point of view. Which
that would be great.
You know, I don't pay anything for a wire transfer, so I should be doing them probably. My trading threshold is so low that it's just not worth the headache. It's not terribly abusive to go set it up, but to set up a wire transfer probably takes, you know, 2 or 3 minutes to enter in all the account information, enter in the recipient's account information, go schedule the wire transfer. Just the overhead it takes to go do that for the amounts that I'm able to trade right now is just not worth it. I would do it for larger, bigger transactions, but not for small transactions.
Yeah. I think also it may just be getting the word out. We haven't promoted that in any sort of prominent way. We just really mentioned it in the release notes. So could come back around and say, hey, you know, ACH wire, national bank transfers. Maybe there are certain keywords that help people understand better that we're talking about, like your bank's own native bank-to-bank transfer systems. So suggestions welcome, right? Maybe it's just an awareness issue.
Yeah. There's one question from Dominic in the live chat, but it's on a different currency. I'm not 100% sure. Do we have support for the South Korean won already in currency or payment?
Yeah, so we have our support for all world currencies. So in every country where you have a possibility to make a national bank transfer, you can use Bisq. There is no exclusion of any country in the world basically with this. So the answer is yes.
Okay, thanks. I also wanted to talk today, especially I would want to hear your experience, Chris, on the call, the live trading kickoff event you did together with Felix on Monday. Regarding the concurrent viewers, it was our biggest event ever. I just checked the numbers today, so we had more than 36 concurrent viewers and 144 chat messages, so it was really busy. Also, the demo gods, or at least the transaction mempool gods, were not with us. But the other call the next day, then the trade worked really well. But please, Chris, maybe you can talk about the learnings or your experience on this live trading event.
Yeah, I guess I can just talk about it from the experience of doing it, which was fun. I mean, you were there too. I think there's a great opportunity to do more of that sort of thing, whether it's like walking live through an arbitration ticket, a dispute, right? Of course, we kind of fake something going wrong, but like for people to see all three sides, buyer, seller, arbitrator, and see the screen, the screens being live screencasted. I think there's lots of opportunity for that. And it's just, I think it's pretty powerful, right? It's very difficult to talk through or write through or even do slide presentations that really give a sense of what it's like to use Bisq. So just doing it live is, I think, a pretty good technique. And we actually plan to do more of that in general, what we've been calling tech talks in Slack and in our sort of planning is just that, whether we're talking about how the peer-to-peer network works. So we plan to do kind of like tech talks for a developer audience, both existing Bisq developers and people who might want to get involved, but also in the same kind of vein toward users, right? Maybe digging deeper into, we did a security deposit Q&A, we did account age witness Q&A. So these were kind of the first proto tech talks of a kind, or walking through a feature. And I think we can do lots more of those. I think from the Twitter side, right? We shared that stuff on Twitter, and I think it got a pretty good response. I was heartened to see a couple of like more prominent people giving some feedback, like that they're really loving these updates and keep them coming. So I think it's all good in general. I think we should just keep it up. We should just keep doing lots of live streams, engaging content, get feedback about what people like.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, you tweeted out, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, which currency which we should try to kickstart next, as a kind of liquidity week. I think it was Great Britain pounds was there more than 60-something%. Regarding that, I just also tried a little experiment. So if you're watching the live stream, there should be a little eye or some sign on the top of the video where you can do a live poll on which currency we should support next. I'll just try it out myself. So it's just an experiment. So okay.
That's cool. I just clicked it too.
Yeah. So maybe we can also reuse this stuff. Also, I just recognized there's so much stuff to know about in the YouTube live stream, but we're slowly getting into this. Especially on the last few growth calls, we only talked about liquidity weeks to grow the Bisq network. But actually, yeah, that's just one way to grow it. What we also would like to see from your side, from all the watchers, and if you have an idea how we could grow the Bisq network, maybe it's just a special forum or some channel which we should use. Please just contact us on Slack, create a GitHub issue with your idea, and we'll try to do everything and try everything out to grow the Bisq network itself. So it's not just about being market makers, join our liquidity weeks, but also do lots of small stuff to grow it. I would just quickly check the live chat because it's going on.
Yeah, that's right. While you're looking, I'll just reiterate that this idea of liquidity weeks was just one idea in this kind of conversation around growth that we're having. It turns out to be a pretty good idea so far. So that's how this stuff happens. Just people bring up ideas.
One idea what we could add is kind of like a feature request session where users are asking directly which features they would like to see in Bisq. And then, I mean, we get this already all the time on forum and so on. And some features will require a little bit of background context, why the feature is not supported at the moment or why it's difficult to support it and add it. For instance, a typical feature which will be very important to add will be to have the possibility to edit an offer, that you can change the offer without losing the trading fee. And that has some implication in a solid way in a peer-to-peer network like it is on a centralized exchange. And that would be a good opportunity to explain a little bit the context, and also to ask people who want to work on this and to develop concepts and implementation to add those features. And there are for sure many other features as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just writing in the chat with a question how it can be that we have a negative spread on certain markets. Yeah, there are a couple of reasons. I guess how this could happen. Maybe there was a couple of fixed trades, so with a fixed price, and a couple of dynamic trades, and so there could be a negative spread easily, or people were not happy with the size of some offers and created other offers with, although they could maybe take existing offers for this price. Or Chris, do you have an idea, or Manfred?
Yeah, it's typically when you want to get taking your offer very quickly, you set the price very close to the market price. Optimal is 0, or even better, like optimum would be a negative percentage price. So you're basically selling your Bitcoin cheaper, like on the market price, or you're buying it with a higher price, like on the market price. And when that happens on one side, then a negative spread arises. People often are confused because they're used to automatic order matching at centralized exchanges. And in a centralized exchange with automatic order matching, such offers get executed automatically. So there is basically never a negative spread. And some people think, yeah, that's a bug or whatever. As in Bisq, there is only the manual order matching, or that people are taking the offers. There can be a negative spread. It's for people who are doing arbitrage. It's basically free lunch. They just can take their offer and can do an opposite trade on another exchange, or even on Bisq itself, and eat up the spread. So yeah, basically a very good promotion when we have negative spread.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also one question by Konstantinos. If we do plan certain marketing activities or promotional activities to draw meaningful interest within Bisq, actually the US Dollar Liquidity Week is a first try to do this. We are not kind of venture funded, so we don't have a huge marketing budget where we just hire marketing agencies to get the word out. It's basically dependent on us, on you, on everyone, to talk with your friends on your experience, make them aware of the risks of centralized exchanges and what they could do to make it more secure for themselves as well. So it's really about us to spread the word.
It's also about growing organically, and I think the strategy so far, and strategies can evolve, but how we're operating right now around growth, the way I think of it is that it's about the organic growth of people who want and need to use Bisq, having a self-interest in Bisq getting more and more and more liquid, more and more and more volume over time. So that, when we do these liquidity weeks and we say, hey, you can help, we're not saying be altruistic and help this because it's somehow a very special project or something like that. It's actually good for everybody involved. If you're somebody who holds Bitcoin, or you want to hold more Bitcoin, and you want to do that in a safe and private way, well, you have every reason in the world to want Bisq to grow. So the idea that you would help a friend buy their first Bitcoin by loaning them security deposits, or that you would be a market maker to make the markets more attractive for newcomers. These are all things that should essentially reward you. And when we focus our marketing efforts or our growth efforts in that way, I think it has a particular kind of integrity to it, because it shows us that the people, if we actually grow through those efforts, we know that it's people who are actually using this because they want to, they need to, they want to see it grow. It's a positive feedback loop that tells us we're on the right track, and it also is a hedge against something that could be very dangerous to the platform. If we just started buying ad space, right? Just started doing, Google ad buys or something like that, we could accidentally have an influx of normies into the system, or whatever you want to say, right? People who are basically below a certain bar of familiarity, competence with, Bisq is still a fairly technical thing to use, right? We're getting better and better about explaining it, and we're putting more resources out there, but this still isn't something that's easy for grandma or whatever, right? So we actually want to be careful about how many people we attract, because if we have too many people making too many newbie mistakes and so on like that, that totally swamps arbitration. And we've had a taste of what arbitration getting swamped looks like. And we don't want to spend a whole lot of time there. We want to keep growing steadily, organically, while we grow the team and the network and the DAO and the number of arbitrators and so on. So staying something like on the curve that we're on has been working. And that's why I'm excited about these kinds of things, like these liquidity weeks. They seem to be a good fit for that kind of growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also a chance. So the liquidity week is still running. So if you want to support the Bisq network, please either download the Bisq client if you haven't. Check out one of our videos. I will also post the links of trading videos with Cash App on the US dollar market in the description, and afterwards in the video as well. And either create offers, create buy-sell offers to support the liquidity week, or just try out your first trade on Bisq. That's actually the best thing that you can do. And then talk about your experience. If you had problems, talk with us, and we'll try to get this really smooth working, so everyone can trade in a secure, safe, and privacy-aware way. So I'm just checking if we have covered all the points that I've written down today. Yeah, actually, Chris or Manfred, is there anything from your side you want to talk about today? I will just quickly check the chat.
My side, nothing special. Just maybe that we could start to announce the planned tech sessions. I would like to start early next week. Maybe Chris define the date and be the host of this tech sessions. Will be a kickoff with a general overview about the technical stuff for the audience, clearly developer, and then we will have follow-up sessions with specific topics like peer-to-peer network, like the DAO, the trading protocol, the APIs, and so on, and can really get deeper into technical questions and concepts and how Bisq really works under the hood. And maybe in parallel, I think it would be nice to have something like a feature sessions where we talk, like continuing what we started already with the security deposit and account age witness, and maybe some features which are not implemented at the moment, like editable offers. There's actually a GitHub issue for this open, but the first implementing would be more or less trivial. It's just more a conceptual question, because the cost for the offers have a certain role, reason in the network as spam protection. When we just give this away, we would add up a lot of risks. So we need to think carefully about how to do this. But I think that would be a very important feature, because for professional market makers, it's usually a no-go when they cannot take offers quickly in and out without losing money. And another possibility would be maybe something like extra security deposit for higher trade volumes. So people who would like to trade high amounts, they can lock up some extra money on the side and give kind like reputation with this that will be locked up for a long time. So they cannot make a chargeback because the money only get back after several months or whatever. Not a concrete idea about, there are no concrete ideas about this, but it would be some topic to discuss, or many others.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the tech talks. So much to learn about the Bisq client and the whole code base. It's really huge, and there's so many interesting kind of key features built in, which we just maybe need to communicate and to talk through. Regarding the question, Ryan, you had, if there will be another liquidity week. So of course you can join the current liquidity itself, and we'll have more liquidity weeks in the future for sure. I'm not sure if we will have another one, if there's another one needed for US dollar Bitcoin market, but we'll just do it as it makes sense. So if you don't have time this week, there will be another chance for you for sure. So thanks everyone for joining the call and for all the great questions. I'm really looking forward to the next Tech Talks next week. And if you want to join next week's growth call again, I think we'll have then for sure the final results on the US dollar Bitcoin liquidity week. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to talk to you and see you again, guys. So thanks for watching. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.